Let's start with our first news. Concerns are rising for Sean Strickland ahead of UFC 328 as new controversy surrounds his preparation for a massive title fight against Khamzat. Strickland recently shared footage of himself riding dirt bikes with Johnny Elin, which immediately sparked debate among fans and analysts. In the post, he joked about both of them getting ready for title fights after a 5-round war, inviting Elin to go ride dirt bikes despite it being his first time. The clip shows moments where control looks shaky and even Elin appears to lose balance, raising further concerns about potential injury risk. This situation has reminded fans of Strickland's previous lead-up to his rematch with Du Plessis, when he claimed he suffered a shoulder injury from a dirt bike accident. Now, seeing him back on bikes so close to another championship fight has intensified criticism. MMA community reactions on social media were divided. Some users pointed out that UFC fighters are expected to avoid extreme sports during fight camps, suggesting he could even face fines. Others accused Strickland of not taking the fight seriously, arguing he may be mentally checked out or even trying to risk cancellation. There were also harsher takes, with some claiming he is intentionally putting himself in danger to avoid being overwhelmed by Khamzat. Others dismissed the backlash entirely, saying Strickland is simply being Strickland and that his behavior is consistent with his personality. Still, the timing has raised serious questions as the UFC title opportunity is considered rare and highly valuable. Critics argue that one unnecessary injury could completely derail his chance at gold. As UFC 328 approaches, all eyes remain on Strickland's camp, with fans divided between concern, frustration, and disbelief over his latest actions. The situation continues to develop in Fight Week. Now move on to another news at the start, as Khamzat Chimaev was seen trolling Arman over a recent wrestling exchange with 47-year-old Orija Faber. In the clip, Khamzat appeared confident and playful as he reacted to the training session, saying the pace was very heavy at first, but quickly shifting into mockery as he described it as, "So easy, coach, so easy." So easy. He repeated the phrase while laughing and maintaining a dominant tone throughout the exchange. He continued by saying he had never seen easier training in his life, claiming it was too much fun and implying complete control during the session. His body language and tone suggested he was fully in command, adding further fuel to the trolling moment. Khamzat then shifted into more bragging-style comments, suggesting that nobody in the gym could handle him. He emphasized dominance, repeating the idea that no one could beat him, and insisting that inside that environment, he was untouchable. The comments became even more intense as he referenced age and experience, joking in a dismissive way about a 75-year-old man coming back and thinking he is still a champ. The message was clearly aimed at undermining the credibility of the training situation. While keeping the tone sarcastic and provocative, he continued repeating phrases like "win is win," stressing that results are all that matter, no matter how they come. The delivery made it sound like he was brushing off any criticism while reinforcing his confidence and fighting mentality. Khamzat also added that it does not matter whether people like it or not, continuing to mock the situation by repeating that winning is what counts. The tone remained playful but aggressive, keeping the trolling energy consistent throughout the exchange. The segment ended with confusion and laughter in the background, as voices overlapped and the conversation lost structure. Khamzat's final remarks suggested a casual dismissal of the entire moment, as he wrapped it up by continuing the chaotic gym energy and walking away from the exchange. Move on to another news at the start, as a potential UFC title fight leaked has surfaced, suggesting Islam Makhachev may defend his welterweight belt against Michael Morales at International Fight Week on July 11th. According to a reporter from UFC Espinal, the matchup is already being discussed as confirmed behind the scenes, adding fuel to the speculation that the bout is officially in motion. Yesterday, a reporter for UFC Espinal claimed the fight was on, directly naming Michael Morales as the challenger set to face Islam Makhachev, adding even more weight to the rumors. Morales posted a photo on Instagram with UFC executive Hunter Campbell. In the caption, he wrote, "Papers ready," followed by a salute emoji and a writing hand emoji, hinting that the deal may already be finalized. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev also fueled the speculation just days earlier when he posted on X, showing himself holding both the welterweight and lightweight titles. Alongside the image, He included a phone emoji and simply wrote July, strongly hinting at a major announcement. The timing of both posts has led fans to believe that negotiations are complete and that the UFC is preparing to officially announce the bout for International Fight Week, one of the biggest events on the calendar. If confirmed, this would mark a massive opportunity for Michael Morales, who would be stepping into his first UFC title fight against one of the most dominant champions in the sport. Islam Makhachev, meanwhile, appears to be positioning himself for another historic moment, as he potentially defends his welterweight title while still holding lightweight gold in a rare double champion storyline. At this stage, nothing has been officially confirmed by the UFC, but all signs point toward a major announcement coming soon as July approaches. Despite the growing buzz online, the UFC has remained completely silent, leaving fans to rely on social media hints and insider reports as anticipation continues to build ahead of International Fight Week. If the matchup is officially confirmed, it would instantly become one of the biggest welterweight title fights of the year. With global attention expected to follow the announcement, all eyes are now on the UFC's upcoming announcements, as the promotion prepares for what could be a major shift in the division landscape. With both fighters teasing activity, fans are expecting official confirmation very soon as the event draws closer than ever before. Move on to another news at the start, as Garry reacted to Islam Makhachev comments earlier this morning, adding his voice to the growing confusion surrounding fight announcements, timelines, and official UFC scheduling updates. Garry did not hold back in his response, directly addressing the mixed signals coming from different sides of the situation. He pointed out the inconsistency in recent statements, writing, "First, you say you have a hand injury," highlighting earlier explanations that have been used around the matchup discussions. He then shifted focus to the ongoing timeline debate, referencing how different dates have been mentioned publicly. According to his reaction, August was previously discussed, while now July is being pushed forward, creating uncertainty around what the actual fight schedule is supposed to be. Garry's message emphasized that the situation has been unclear for quite some time, with shifting updates making it difficult to track what is officially confirmed and what is still speculation. His tone reflected frustration, but also confidence in his own position within the division. He continued by stating that he has been ready to compete for a long time, making it clear that his preparation has not changed regardless of delays. He pointed out that he has been ready since he was last turned down in May, reinforcing that he has stayed active and prepared throughout the waiting period. Garry also made it clear that he is still available and waiting for confirmation, suggesting that the responsibility for the delay does not lie with him. He emphasized that the entire division is still waiting on clarity. With no final direction officially confirmed, his reaction added further intensity to the ongoing discussion as fighters continued to respond publicly to scheduling uncertainty and potential matchup announcements. The situation remains fluid, with multiple timelines being discussed, but nothing officially locked in yet. As speculation continues, Garry's comments highlight the frustration many fighters feel when dealing with shifting plans, delayed confirmations, and uncertain booking processes at the top level of the UFC. For now, the welterweight division remains in a state of anticipation, with fighters like Garry continuing to push for clarity as fans wait for official announcements to settle the debate. On to another news, as new ALF reality footage has surfaced showing Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier in a heated argument, bringing their long-standing rivalry back into the spotlight once again. In the clip, tensions quickly escalate as DC directly accuses Jon Jones of using steroids during their fighting careers, reigniting one of the most controversial discussions in MMA history. Jon Jones responds immediately, firing back with confidence and hostility. While also referencing the head kick that led to DC being finished in their fight, Jones questions DC's credibility, asking how Daniel can suggest someone else could beat him when he himself was already defeated. The tone is sharp, emotional, and highly personal, reflecting the deep rivalry between the two legends. The argument intensifies as voices overlap and interruptions begin. At one point, Jones demands translation to continue speaking clearly, but tensions rise as both fighters refuse to back down. The exchange becomes chaotic, with interruptions and aggressive back-and-forth dialogue dominating the scene. Jones emphasizes physical advantages, pointing out height differences and age gaps, stating 200 cm height, 8 years youth difference, while continuing to mock DC's accusations. He also repeats claims that insecurity is driving certain accusations. Further escalating the confrontation, DC pushes back strongly, rejecting the narrative and continuing to challenge Jones on past allegations and fight history. The discussion shifts between personal attacks and fight breakdowns, making the argument even more intense. Jones then revisits the famous head kick, reminding DC that he predicted it long before it happened, saying he told him a year before their fight that he would land it. He insists that he followed through on that prediction inside the cage. DC dismisses the claim, calling it luck and comparing it to a blind squirrel finding a nut, suggesting the outcome was not skill-based but coincidental. Jones immediately rejects that idea, insisting it was not luck but preparation and execution. The conversation then turns back to the steroid accusations, with Jones claiming that performance-enhancing drugs cannot predict fight outcomes like the head kick he landed. He uses this argument to further defend his legacy and dismiss the criticism. As the exchange continues, Jones suggests he has been waiting for DC to eventually admit certain truths, stating that he always believed that moment would come. The clip ends with tension still unresolved, highlighting the ongoing rivalry between the two former champions. Move on to another. News as Arman receives a warning after teasing a possible move down in weight to challenge for the featherweight title against Volk. Arman has been openly discussing his future in multiple interviews, suggesting that his next fight could come this summer, and even hinting at a potential shot at the 145-pound championship. However, not everyone in the MMA world believes that idea is realistic. Kamaru Usman recently addressed the situation on a pound-for-pound podcast, strongly pushing back on the idea of Arman dropping down to featherweight. Usman called the idea ridiculous, questioning whether it makes sense given Arman's previous struggles with weight cuts. He pointed out that Arman already had issues making lightweight for a scheduled world title opportunity, referencing a past situation where Arman missed weight due to a back injury during a difficult cut. Usman suggested that dropping another 10 pounds would only make things more complicated. Usman also emphasized that Arman is not a small fighter, describing him as a big, powerful athlete who already carries significant mass at lightweight. In his view, cutting down to featherweight would be extremely difficult and potentially unsafe at this stage of his career. He further argued that even welterweight might be a stretch, but still more realistic than featherweight, adding that Arman's frame and strength are better suited for higher divisions. However, he also admitted uncertainty about how far Arman could push his body. The discussion also referenced historical comparisons to fighters like Tyron Woodley, highlighting how powerful fighters have succeeded in higher weight classes despite size concerns. Despite the criticism, Arman remains confident about his future. In recent comments, he stated that he believes he will fight Ilya next, unless Ilya decides to move up in weight instead. Arman insisted that he is next in line for a title shot and dismissed the idea of other contenders being ahead of him. He made it clear that he expects to get his opportunity soon, stating that if Ilya does not move up, he will have no choice but to face him. He also expressed doubt that the UFC would rebook certain rematches or prioritize other challengers, reinforcing his belief that his path to the title is already set. As the debate continues, Arman's future remains a major talking point in the division, with fans and fighters split on whether a move to featherweight is a smart decision or a dangerous gamble. Move on to another news, as Arman reveals details about his RAF pay and how his earnings outside the UFC are becoming a major talking point in the MMA world. Arman recently spoke about his involvement with RAF and confirmed that he is earning significant money through the platform. During an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show, he explained that his RAF earnings are now getting close to what he makes in the UFC, raising eyebrows across the sport. When asked directly if his RAF payments were approaching his UFC income, Arman responded positively, confirming yes, and expressing that the financial situation is very beneficial for him. He described it as the best setup for his career outside the cage. He also noted that RAF offers a different type of competition, saying that fighters do not have to take the same damage as in MMA and can compete more frequently. However, Arman made it clear that despite the financial benefits, his real passion remains fighting in the UFC. He stated that while he enjoys the opportunity and the money, UFC competition is still more exciting for him. According to Arman, fighting in the UFC brings a different level of motivation compared to other platforms. Previously, Arman mentioned that he was earning around $300,000 per fight in the UFC. However, in a later discussion during a stream with Ryan Garcia, he revealed that with the new Paramount broadcasting deal, fighter pay has reportedly increased significantly. He explained that under the new system, fighters are now earning roughly double what they used to. This would place his estimated UFC pay closer to $600,000 per fight. Depending on contracts and performance bonuses, Arman also stated that the promotion has already begun adjusting fighter contracts due to the new deal, with many athletes seeing increased pay. He claimed that even champions are now earning much more, with top fighters potentially making around $4 million compared to previous figures closer to $2 million. These changes highlight a major shift in UFC fighter compensation, with Arman suggesting that the new era of contracts is already impacting earnings across the roster. Meanwhile, Khamzat has also launched his official YouTube channel, giving fans a more personal look into his life and training, adding another layer of attention to the growing media presence of top UFC fighters.